How's it going, everybody? This is Round Novakast, back with another video, or at least us doing a episode review of the Book of Boba Fett. We'll be talking about episode 3. And I think I might go ahead and just, especially with the flashback stuff, I just want to kind of get that one over with. Because to an extent, I think this kind of leads to, us seeing him in The Mandalorian. Unless something else kind of pops up. But anyway, so to kind of get us started, we see him, at least for the Tusken flashback. We see him corresponding with the Syndicate, whose train he wrecked, and demanding payment for protection, or creating a deal for protection with the Syndicate. And the Syndicate kind of makes the argument that they are already paying protection from another gang, and they wouldn't pay two people. So to an extent, Boba says, then I'll deal with this, and leaves. Unfortunately, when he heads back to the Tusken camp, they have been completely and utterly wiped out. Unfortunately, every single one of them is killed. And a brand of the biker gang that supposedly is protecting the Pikes is left as a, I want to say as a way to gloat, to an extent. But anyway, they're all dead. Boba Fett basically pays his final respects to the tribe and goes about his way. Now, kind of fast forwarding to an extent, we have Boba kind of figuring things out as what to do, especially with the huts as well as the territories. We have an individual who sells water at an exuberant price, demanding that Boba assists him with hooligans that use droid parts as prosthetics. And basically he wants Boba Fett to get rid of him. But Boba Fett sees potential, as well as this guy kind of being an obnoxious individual, especially when it comes down to his overpricing of water, and proceeds to partially pay the man what he wanted, kind of giving some very, very interesting threats when it comes down to his distribution, as well as his rights to vend anything or sell anything to Tatooine, or the city that they're in, and hires all 4 of these hooligans to be a part of his organization, which honestly is pretty cool. Though to an extent, I'm not gonna lie, for some reason, especially with the brightly colored speeder bikes, for some reason I kind of started thinking of the Power Rangers. I don't know why. Again, it could be because of the bikes, but either way, that was my immediate reaction. And actually, it doesn't help too that, especially with a lot of what we're seeing color wise, let's face it, Tatooine, we're seeing a lot of dull colors. A lot of dark, dull colors, to an extent. And to see, a bright yellow speeder bike, a bright blue, red, and green speeder bikes, I immediately was thinking, okay, this is from a different franchise or some crap. Sure enough, I'm wrong on that. But either way, that was my thoughts. And honestly, these kids prove useful when the assassin, or the bounty hunter, that was hired by the Hutts, shows up at Boba's palace, rips him out of his healing tank, and proceeds to try to kill him. They're able to kind of keep him at bay, and inevitably, with the help of Fennec and several of the other subordinates, they're able to lock this Wookiee bounty hunter in the in the dungeon to an extent, or the Rancor dungeon, I should say. So there's that. The next day, though, we have, I guess, the Hutt showing up, giving Boba a gift, which is a Rancor. And the moment with this thing is pretty cool, but I'm kind of getting ahead of myself because to an extent they want a truce. They realize that fighting would be bad for business for them, and they leave. Basically leaving claim, or like relinquishing claim, to Jabba's palace. Because I think to an extent they realize that it's not worth the effort. Though I kind of feel like they may be playing the long game on that one. But who knows. But anyway, so they leave. They release the Wookiee, and he goes off on his own direction, which I thought was hilarious. And I love this line where from Boba, where because they kind of did a couple good hits on the Wookiee, and Boba's like, no hard feelings, and kind of gives him advice about, dude, don't just, whatever you do, don't go for the scummy employers. From one ex-bounty hunter to another. Honestly, that moment was pretty funny. But now let's go on to the moment with the Rancor, which honestly is pretty cool, especially when they kind of give us a little bit of lore on Rancors, which I did not expect. Which kind of, and it could be because I haven't read anything involving any of the extended universe stuff for Star Wars, but to an extent, especially with the films, it kind of makes sense, especially since there's the trainer mentions the fact that Rancors have a sort of bond with their owner, or at least imprint on the first human they see. So the moment, it kind of made me think of like the moment in the 6th Star Wars movie when Luke kills the Rancor. It made me think of like that moment when the Rancor died, and you have the to an extent the owner or the guy kind of crying when it died. It made no sense to me when I was younger, but hearing stuff like this, or at least some more information about these animals, or these supposed animals, it kind of makes sense. In fact, there's a moment during this whole scene where Boba is kind of taken back when he hears that Rancors are supposedly emotional, complex animals. So there's that. Now, going further, they get interrupted when it's uncovered that the mayor is quite possibly the one who's causing all the shit. In fact, the Hutts kind of noted that it's possibly the mayor. So, to an extent, or at least going further, Fennec and Boba head to the mayor's office, only to find just his assistant. And the assistant, after being threatened by Fennec, locks the door and runs away. And we get to see these hooligan bike riders in action, which I will admit is a pretty cool scene. I'm not gonna lie, it looked actually pretty cool, but I still got distracted with the bright colors for the bikes. But anyways, they're able to catch up with him, stop him from escaping, and he finds out, or at least Boba finds out, that the mayor is working with the Pike Syndicate. And with the last part of the episode, we see a bunch of Pikes, probably like a dozen of them, showing up at or coming out of a star, or basically a transport. And at this point, Boba is, getting ready for what could possibly happen. All in all, the episode itself was pretty good. And like I said, there's a couple of moments that I kind of enjoyed. And there were a couple parts that I thought were funny. the flashbacks that we've gotten to see thus far, especially when it comes down to, you know, Boba and how he's progressed, has been intriguing, to say the least, as well as kind of getting an idea of where he's been at since number 6. So good. This so far has been good, and I've been enjoying it. But for now, though, I think I'm gonna go ahead and end this video here. Thank you guys so much for watching. Truly appreciate it. If you guys can, please leave a like, comment, share, subscribe, all the good stuff. If you guys want to follow us on social media, links are in the description down below, as well as check out our daily content and the weekly podcast. With that being said, this is Novakast signing off. Have a good one. Take care. I'll see you guys in the next video.